When I first started coaching fitness, I wish someone had set me down and told me the cold, hard facts of what it means to be in this industry. And I wish they had inspired me and given me some direction on things that I could develop a lot quicker than I ended up developing them. In this recording today, I want to give you those things. If you're a coach, my attempt is to inspire you, fingers crossed, but also open your eyes to the real world of the fitness industry and what you'll need to do, in my opinion, to be successful. I'm Spencer Nix. On this channel, we discuss the art of radical health in athlete design. At the time of this recording, I've been coaching for 20 years. I'm also a slow learner. Much of these recordings are things I wish I had heard when I was coming up. And so let's start by talking about the fitness industry. I do want to give you 3 skills to develop, 3 directives. But first, let's make sure that we understand why, in the context of health and fitness, that will serve you well. This industry that we're in, it's a romantic industry in a way. We get to train in the middle of the day if we want to. We get to talk to people about their health. We get to wear sweatpants. For some of us, we can make posts on social media or make videos, and miracle of all miracles, someone might like it. Like many noble vocations that are out there, we get to help people. We get to make a difference in their lives, and all that feels really good. That can be very closely associated with this word called passion. The trade-off for being in any industry that you could say is very closely associated with a hobby or a passion is that the earning potential is significantly different. God, I wish somebody had told me that when I was 18. If you look up in the Federal
Bureau of Labor Statistics,
the top 5 trainers in this country make over $80K. By comparison, if you look up tax attorneys, the absolute worst tax attorney makes the same thing that the salutatorian of trainers makes. So the trade-off is that the sexier the job, and you could probably say that about anything you'd be passionate about: acting, being a DJ, teaching dance, anything where someone's entered the industry because they were really passionate about it, there is a trade-off of earning potential. Now look, I'm not telling you that because I don't want you to enter into this industry. On the contrary, I'm making this recording because I want you to make it, and I want you to make it big. But you need to know the realistic stakes. Now, here's one more very sobering statistic. There's a 70% fatality rate for anyone that's in the industry over 10 years. That doesn't mean they die. It means that they don't make it longer than 10 years. Now, this is regardless of how much the coach has earned. I think this means one or two things. One, it means that they did make enough money, but it was unsustainable in terms of the workload. You can conjure up images of the private trainer who had 40 hours of one-on-ones, and they were paid handsomely for that. They were in the top 5% or even greater, but they just couldn't sustain it. More than likely, what I think that means is that there was an economic stress of not making enough money that was too much for the coach to handle. So that's the sobering, call it bad news of being in this industry. Knowing full well that if you want to make it, you're going to have to be elite. You're going to have to do something that puts you not in the top 5%, but in the top 1%. If you want to live a comfortable life with a family, with a house, with things that wouldn't require you to be economically stressed out all the time. There is some good news, and I want to say that I don't know if fitness will always stay in that category of a passion project. I know it absolutely did for me. I know many of my peers and contemporaries started really as just gym rats, but I think that fitness is changing. It's changing in a couple of ways. Right now, we could go on Chat GTP and we could get the answers to questions that at one point in time only us that had been studying this stuff and had lots of experience could answer. I went on there a couple of days ago, and in 10 minutes flat, I created an 8-week, 2-rep power clean progression that, besides me and people that are really well-versed in program design, I don't know if the consumer could really tell the difference. I think that there's workout solutions out there that are almost completely autonomous. That means you can have an app that's powered by AI where you don't need a human being. There's workout solutions in the garage where you don't need a live trainer anymore to do those things. I don't think that's going away. And that sounds like bad news, but this is in the good news category, and here's why. The greatest threat to automation is loneliness, and the solution to loneliness is human interaction. I think this thing of getting healthy you can't outsource, and I think at some point people are going to find that they need human connection in order to get as healthy as they possibly can. So those that have great skill, and I'm going to tell you exactly what skills that I think you need, and those that continue to develop the things that you can't replace with AI are going to be paid handsomely for their ability to do so. Not their passion, but their talent. Now, before we get into these 3 skills, the prologue of this book that I'm trying to write for you is this. The unfortunate truth is that the direction that coaching is going to go, at least for the human, is going to be to solve big problems for only a few people. A more street version of that is that we're going to be trying to solve rich people problems. I hate saying that. It feels yucky. It feels cruddy, but I think when you put your brain in that space, you can be thinking in the way of what someone who has disposable income that would actually find value in hiring a human being versus AI would need. And when you can start to get the wheels turning in that way, it doesn't mean that you're going to become a capitalist pig or money hungry, but you're going to realize the stakes and the landscape of the industry that you're in, and you will strategically be focused on the areas that you know will continue to need that. Equinox right now is charging a $40,000 membership. Did you see this? It's wild. I have several friends who have clients that pay them $1,000 a month for 4 sessions, $5,000 a month. That, in my opinion, is the final destination of interpersonal coaching. You get so good, not at program design specifically, not at weighing and measuring food for someone's macronutrient count. You get so good at coaching the entirety of their life that no matter where you live in the world, no matter if you're married, if you have kids, no matter if you stepped out of the arena and you put yourself back into the arena of high performance coaching, you will solve big solutions for a few people. So if the roles were reversed and I was watching this video, I would pause this and I would think and spend some time jotting down some ideas here. I'm not saying that this is going to happen right now for you, but I think it's an excellent thought experiment. And the thought experiment is this. If you had to coach somebody that was paying you $5,000 a month, what would that look like? What would their needs be? One, you got to think, who is that person that has that disposable income to pay this type of price tag? Well, I'll give you a little hint, and I don't want to fill in all the details because I want you to use your own brain. But my guess is that they will be paying you so they don't waste time. They will literally be paying you so they don't have to use any brain power in this area of their life that they know is healthy, that they know is good for them, and they would be trusting that your tastes and opinions are better than their own. It would be the same as them hiring a new CFO. It would be the same as them hiring a personal chef. They're not going to butt in and say, well, I'd cook it this way, stand aside. They would say like, hey, you got me, and you got me for everything. So give that some thought. And in the process, I want you to know that I think there are a ton of directions that you can go within health and fitness. I think that there's a merging of preventative health care in that our industry will somehow meet and join in unison. I think there's lots of things that you can do, but if you set your sights and think through how you could develop the skills of someone that could be paid handsomely for world-class performance, I think that you could parlay those skills into lots of other areas. Now, if we use that as a very ambitious, long-term compass heading, let's get into some of these skills that I've mentioned that I think will be absolutely necessary for you to get there. Number one is talent. And I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page as to what I mean by talent. I don't mean that you're the Jay-Z of coaching. I don't mean that this is genetic and you were born with this. What I'm alluding to is more of an aptitude. I like to define aptitude as something that comes easy for you, something that you could spend a lot of time with and it doesn't wear you out. I'm going to give you a few examples. We have some coaches here that are really good talking. They're really great communicators. We have some coaches here that are really well organized. I asked one what they did this weekend, and they said, I organized my closet. That was fun to them. Now, that doesn't mean they're world class at it. It just means that they have a natural natural tendency to do this without any type of prodding or any need for inspiration or motivation. We have guys that are really good at sales. We have guys that are really good at focusing long-term on attention towards a specific task. Now, these are all aptitudes that can be applied to the world of coaching. If you're watching this, you have those too. What a great encouragement, right? You have something that may not be world-class, but it comes easy for you compared to others. Learning that doesn't mean that this job will become easy or that you don't have to participate in that ugly 4-letter word called work, but it means that you can start to leverage the things that come easy for you in this wide berth of an industry in ways that can be a very manageable system for you. So homework number 2, I want you to take some time to figure out what that is for you. I'm not a huge fan of aptitude tests. I think they're limited in scope, and sometimes we can forget that it was subjective in the ways that we answered those questions. But for most, that didn't take a whole lot of time for you to get some feedback on things that you might investigate as aptitudes. StrengthsFinder through Gallup is a wonderful thing that we've had all of our staff do over the years. If you've never done that, I think that's a great starting place. And then here in Dallas, Texas, there is a gentleman named Bill Hendricks that has what's called the Giftedness Center. He's also written a book. The book's called The Person Called You. It's fantastic. So that's starting to customize this industry in a way that fits your personality. It fits the way that you're wired. But the second skill is indisputable. It's the meta skill of coaching. Are you ready for this? The next thing that I want you to get really good at is communicating. There is no way around it. This is why, and it's my own personal opinion, I believe that coaching in a group is so important. It's just communication. It's just confidence. It's storytelling. It's commanding attention. Forget the workout. Forget the seeing and correcting. Get this right, and the rest, which is important, will fit in. If you miss this, who gives a shit how good you are at seeing and correcting? Honestly. Now, for 10 years, I coached seminars on the road for CrossFit. Fun little fact. There were lots of things that I gave in that job, but I'll tell you one thing that I got, and I was paid handsomely for this. I got the skill of being able to, with little preparation, no matter the size of the group, step in front of them, command attention, and better yet, even enjoy myself in the process. That skill set, I think, can be weaponized in so many ways coaching. And I share that with you because there's a lot of coaches that I talk to that have really prioritized the one-on-one attention. But I think that you're limiting your potential if you don't know how to interact logistically, work through multiple people at once, and develop that skill set, even if it's not the majority of what you'll be doing. Now, coaching is always one-on-one. Even if you're coaching in a group, when you're correcting someone, it is a one-on-one interaction. There's just people sometimes that are watching. So this ability to connect, interact with someone in any environment is a skill that you literally, not like kids say it these days, literally you want to be the best at. You want to know that you can sit down with anyone and everyone gets the smoke. No one gets out alive. You sit down and you can get through this very clandestine way of asking questions and being patient and showing grace and empathy. You can get anything you need out of that person. I'm not there yet, but I can tell you that I can picture the 60-year-old version of myself and how good they've gotten over 20 years of doing just this thing. Now, those friends that I mentioned that are charging the prices right now that we sit and marvel at, the thing that they're great at is not exercise design, even though they know those things. It's not getting the perfect ratio of nutrition or being a genie when it comes to sleep hygiene. They're really good at communicating. They leave a session and they've told me the thing that I'm trying to accomplish is they had such a good time. They looked forward to this interaction that they want me to come back. It's as simple as that. It's as simple, but it's not easy. In regards to that, I think this takes a ton of reps. I don't think there's any substitution for this. I'm sorry, I don't. This one-on-one interaction, I've seen lots of coaches look at this as a burden. Look at this as kind of an eye roll. Man, couldn't I just be doing something fun like coaching through a workout versus sitting down with them and listening? And I want you to look at this as an opportunity. It is the necessary gateway for your future acumen. If you're young and you're just starting out, book as many of these as you possibly can and look at each one as the chance to get better at presenting, problem solving, listening, deduction. These are skills that aren't unique to fitness, and if you get good at these, man, the opportunities I think are really, really plentiful. Now, last but not least, the third skill is I want you to spend more time planning, projecting ahead. Thinking through not just today, man, this is really fun to wear workout clothes to work and to train in the middle of the day, but I want you to think years into the future. What does this look like? I'm a single guy right now and I have very little overhead. What would it look like if I was married, if I had a mortgage, if I had 3 kids and I was doing this? I wish that someone had sat me down and said, dude, you need to save as much money as you can. Dude, when you have kids and a wife, it's going to be so easy to spend money. I wish someone had sat me down and said, you need to work as hard as you can right now. When you think that you're busy, it will be laughable 10 years from now when you have more responsibilities. I wish someone had said those things. I wish I had taken some time to think through what I really wanted to make doing this. I think early on that would have motivated me to work harder faster if I really knew what the stakes were. Here's an example. According to the census, the real median household income was $74,000. That means to be middle class here, you have to make a lot of money still. $74,000 is a lot of money. That's middle class. That's the middle of the income here in the United States. Now, if you do the math, they say that no more than about 30% of what you make should be allocated to housing. And so in the year 2024, $2,000 in a mortgage each month isn't much. Now, I'm not saying that you need to leave this recording and say, well, I need to make millions of dollars. I'm not saying that. But I do think that you need to think through what the economic weight class is that you want to be a part of. For a lot of people, that's not going to be enough to lead the life that they want to lead. And so what do you do with that? Well, it means that you have to be really, really, really good at what you do. You can't settle for 50%. You can't settle for passion. You have to be constantly improving the craft, finding your niche, finding your aptitude, developing the skills of communication in every facet and form. And if you do that, I think that you can maintain success and satisfaction in this industry. So the last action, the last bit of homework that I have for you is I want you to think about your passion and your love of exercise and what it did for you. And I want you to think, is that going to be the thing that you hang on to, or are you going to stay in this industry for the rest of your career? Thank you for listening.